Alright, disassembling the 2000. Ooh, she's been touched on, so this board has been out. I've always stated, please wipe off your stuff when you're done touching it because the oils of your hands will eventually corrode the metal. Case and point example. So, that's just great. Case has a birth date of January 24th, 1990. Now to get this out, you can tell this is very crusty, rusty. Fingerprints and yuck. Oh no. So look at the left, they soldered it to this. That is, don't do that crap. Underneath here, looks like the Exxon Valdez took a big poop on it. And I'll give you a taste test here. That is not dust because it moves. It is liquid. Ugh. And it's all over the place. That's great. Yeah, just gotta melt this away. Whatever, I guess get a repair over years is what you get. So, bottom of the board. We've had some socket chips right here. What are these? Disk drive logic. Interesting. It has had new fuses put in. It has a weird thing on the CIA up here where it's a piece of metal hanging out. Don't know what that's about. Interesting. Battery damage area runs up through here. Mainly dusty, crusty. Gary has, looks like a mark where the mega chip was. That I ended up purchasing from the same seller. So let's take a peek at this. This has got something in it. Oh, it's wet. It's still wet. What is that? Yep, that's good. Just dump some IPA on it in case it's just, I don't know. Is this water? Don't know. That's gross. We're clean now. And I'll have to do something about the rust and the fingerprints. Besides the busted Agnus, of course. That, the left audio. The right audio is going to be replaced, and I might as well do the video connector too. This is a replacement. Looks like it's a Panasonic because it's blue. These are all Shoeies. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the wonderful engineering I did here. Look at that. That is some craftsmanship right there. Another way of getting an Agnus out, if you have something that's non-metallic, on the bottom of the board there should be a hole right here. You can take something small, plastic, but you can bang them out that way from the bottom. They like being banged from the bottom. It's easier to get out if you don't have a PLCC extractor, but I do. Somebody took a screwdriver in here and pried on it, and that's what split her on the ends. Got some parts from the other side that I moved from. We got a bunch of PLCCs. I got 2 CPU sockets left and a PLCC extractor. These come in 2 different flavors, short and long. This is the longer one. There is a pin on one side and a hole on the other. The idea is you squeeze this and it pops the chip up. If it wasn't cracked, there we go. And it pulls the chip up, and then you can just release it, and there's your 8372A Agnus. This is not from the extraction. This is from what the hell happened. The pin was broken off, so they bent it up to fit the Agnus in. Yeah, this is what you don't do. I mean, if you break it, I guess you could zip tie it, and that kept her closed, but she's split from each seam, and with the chip in there pressing out, it just expanded the socket, and it was green screen, random. I know green is usually RAM, but it can also be the fat lady. So That's what that is. If you're going to use a solder sucker like the Heiko FR301 clone, make sure you have the small tip, because if you have the big tip and you wiggle this around, you can actually do some damage to the traces because you're too rough or the tip might be sharp. Just be careful when you do that. When you have a battery leak on an Amiga 2000 especially, if you don't do nothing, you know, you're going to ruin the board. So even if you cut the battery out 20 years later, what's going to happen is the acid's going to just creep on up here. She's going to just climb a tree. And that's going to mess with the ROM, that's going to mess with the keyboard capacitors, that can mess mainly with the clock circuit, which is, this is your clock chip over here. There's two traces that run literally right underneath the battery. They usually get wasted. It's just R914 and the last pin over here of the clock chip. So check for that. You can also lose some tracing up under the CPU bus. As you can see here, these are green as the Titanic. Now you can clean these all you want. Problem is, battery acid came from the bottom and sucked their way up to the top like a straw. Now if you compare it to the end here, these, although dull, are still fine. But luckily on the Amiga 2000, the majority of this is ground plane. Like I said, you have your two slices here that are your traces for your clock chip, and that's pretty much that. Some of the other ones have CPU traces, either to the CPU socket, and that runs through this side straight across. So once you remove here, check your through holes, make sure the hole has the little off of it. So take your Captain Kirk tape, give her a good run around of the whole board, and we will remove solder. I'm not high tech and I don't have an overhead camera, so I won't be able to see pretty much anything. So I'll be in your way for a few minutes as I lean in here a little bit. And that is that. Whew. You're asking yourself, why did I tape off that board? Well, so I isolated my work area and I don't want to touch anything I don't have to. There's like 3 ground plane pins on Agnus that make it extremely difficult to get through. Remember, this is a thick board, so the center ground plane is quite a tough cookie to get through. So my top is extracted. You can see where the crack was here. Oh, like, see that? That's why it wasn't holding on. But I'm going to need this for an Agnus project I got, so I don't want to destroy it. There you are, you little booger. You can see on the ground pin here, it's extra thick. And there's one here and one over here, and it just, yeah. But I need this, because this is going to fit inside of an Agnus carrier like this once I bend the pins in. And I'm going to use this part for something that I have needed for a long time. But you want to make sure these holes are nice and opened up to accept the new socket. Pin 1 labeled by an arrow, and the arrow is on the inside here. I don't know if you can see it right here. Let's go. Done. 84 pins. Alright. Cool. I forgot what I was doing here. I forgot to press record. Camera cord power fell out. This thing's falling off. It's a glorious night. 68,000 socket. So with it removed, then you can just kind of clean the socket up that way too. That way you don't have to worry about solder sucking the life out of it and risk damaging anything. Just heat it up and you can pull the pin right out. And they're green on this side too, which is pretty incredible. And then I can check for trace damage between here and here, and that's where a lot of it occurs. We'll flux and we'll clean. Yay, clean and shiny. See this? Right near the 0, and there's a trace right here. It's extremely yucky. I don't know if it's bad, but it's okay. Through hole is messed up on here, maybe here. I'll have to do some continuity testing. But it's not, it has a gap. I don't know if you can see that. The camera's not doing it justice because you can't really see what I'm seeing. Let me do some continuity testing and I'll zap back and we'll get a socket re-put in this thing after I fix some crap. Alright, so everything's repaired. We have our 64 pin socket here. And here we go. Agnus and CPU socket replaced, but you can clean them up. I have parts cleaner. It just stinks real bad. I can use it. I mean, you can use it while it's running. It smells. It's stinky. Oh god, that stinks. Clean your workspace here and wipe it on your pants. All right, move things to the side and throw things away, making sure I drop them on the floor to step on them later. So here is our freshly washed and repaired 68,000 socket and our Agnus socket. First off, fat lady, processor. Alright, this should work because when you don't have a CPU, it's not gonna, who knows. Let's hit it. Take this disc out. Bingo. Alright, so we're back in business. God, I am tired. That's gonna wrap it up for me today. We'll do some reassembly another time. So that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for watching.